Have you ever found yourself tolerating behaviors in a relationship that made you uncomfortable or even unhappy? The story. Imagine this. You're sitting at a dinner party surrounded by friends, and you can't help but notice the way your partner cuts you off every time you try to speak. It's happened before, but tonight it feels different. You realize that it's not just the interruption, the pattern, criticism that's crept into your daily conversations, the dismissive comments that have become the norm. You start to wonder, is this what I deserve? Is this what love is supposed to feel like? Stay with us until the end of this video, because what we're about to uncover might just change your perspective on what you should and should never tolerate in a relationship. Understanding these behaviors isn't just about improving your relationship with others, it's about respecting yourself and knowing your worth. So, if you've ever questioned whether a behavior was acceptable, you're in the right place. Let's dive deep into the 10 things a man should never tolerate from a woman, and learn how recognizing these signs early can save you from emotional pain and lead you to a healthier, more fulfilling relationship. Disrespect towards his goals. Now, let's talk about something that's a deal breaker for many. Imagine working tirelessly toward a goal. Maybe it's a career milestone, a personal achievement, or a financial dream, and the person you care about mocks it or diminishes its importance. How would that feel? When a woman doesn't respect a man's goals, it sends a clear message. She doesn't believe in his potential or value his aspirations. This isn't just about nagging or discouragement, it's about a fundamental lack of support. And support is crucial in any partnership. Data insight. A study by the University of California found that couples who actively support each other's goals experience higher levels of relationship satisfaction and personal well-being. This goes to show how crucial mutual respect and encouragement are. Rhetorical question. How can you build a future with someone who doesn't see or value the path you're on? When a man tolerates this behavior, he's essentially settling for a partner who doesn't see his worth or his vision. And let's be clear, if she's not rooting for you, she might just be rooting against you. This isn't about being perfect or agreeing on every life choice, but about having a fundamental respect and support for each other's journeys. Comparison. Think about it. When friends or even acquaintances cheer for your victories, it feels good, right? Now, the person who's supposed to be closest to you can't do the same. What does that say? In relationships, goals can be diverse. They might not always align perfectly, but respect is non-negotiable. If a woman shows a consistent lack of respect for a man's ambitions, it's a major red flag. He needs someone who not only understands his dreams, but also stands beside him, cheering him on, even when the going gets tough. 2. Insistent dishonesty. Now let's dive into another crucial point. Honesty. Trust is the bedrock of any relationship. But what happens when there's a crack in that foundation? Storytelling. Imagine a couple where the woman frequently lies about small things, where she's been, who she's talking to, or even her feelings about their relationship. At first it might seem like no big deal, just little white lies. But over time, these lies build up, like water dripping on a stone. Eventually, it wears away the trust. Data insight. According to Psychology Today, consistent dishonesty in a relationship is one of the top predictors of a breakup. It's not just the lies themselves, but the erosion of trust that causes irreparable damage. Rhetorical question. Can a relationship truly survive without trust? Here's the harsh reality. If she lies about the small stuff, what's stopping her from lying about the big thing? A man should never tolerate a relationship where dishonesty becomes the norm. When trust is compromised, every aspect of the relationship suffers. Comparison and contrast. Imagine you're building a house. You wouldn't use faulty materials, right? It's the same with a relationship. Trust is the solid foundation. Without it, everything else crumbles. Men often feel they can overlook dishonesty because nobody's perfect. But there's a difference between being imperfect and being untruthful. When a woman consistently lies, she's choosing her own comfort over the integrity of the relationship. Educational content. Remember, honesty doesn't mean brutal honesty. There's no need to hurt each other with truth. It's about being sincere and transparent, making sure that both partners feel secure in their connection. If a man tolerates dishonesty, he's setting a precedent that could lead to a much darker path. This is not just about calling out lies, but about establishing a relationship built on mutual trust and respect. Transition. To make a long story short, if honesty isn't a priority, the relationship is already on shaky ground. Now let's move on to another thing a man should never tolerate. 3. Emotional manipulation. Let's shift gears and talk about emotional manipulation, toxic behavior that can be subtle yet devastating. You know those moments when you're in an argument and suddenly the conversation turns into a guilt trip, or the past is brought up to make you feel like the bad guy? That's emotional manipulation, and it's something no one should ever put up with. Storytelling. Think about a man who finds himself constantly second-guessing his actions, feeling guilty for things he didn't do, or doubting his self-worth. Why? Because his partner is always turning situations around, making him feel like he's the problem. Over time, this manipulative behavior chips away at his confidence and self-esteem. Data insight. Research from the American Psychological Association shows that emotional manipulation can lead to increased anxiety, depression, and even PTSD in victims. It's not just a relationship issue, it's a mental health issue. Rhetorical question. How much of yourself are you willing to lose just to keep someone else? Comparison. Consider this. Someone repeatedly manipulated you at work, making you feel incompetent or unworthy. Would you stay in that job? So why tolerate it in a relationship? Men often stay in these situations because they think they can change their partner, or they don't want to be seen as giving up. But the truth is, staying with someone who manipulates your emotions isn't a sign of strength. It's a sign of self-neglect. Educational content. Emotional manipulation can take many forms: gaslighting, guilt-tripping, passive-aggressive behavior. It's not about one-off instances, but a consistent pattern. The best response is to set clear boundaries, communicate your feelings openly, and if needed, seek professional help. No one should feel trapped in a cycle of manipulation, especially in a relationship meant to be supportive and loving. Transition. In relationships, boundaries are essential. Without them, it's easy for things to go off track. And speaking of boundaries, let's talk about something else no man should ever put up with. 4. Disrespect towards boundaries. Boundaries are a fundamental part of any healthy relationship. They define what we are comfortable with, what we value, and how we wish to be treated. When a woman continuously disregards a man's boundaries, it's not just a lack of respect, the lack of understanding and care for who he is as a person. Storytelling. Picture a scenario where a man repeatedly tells his partner he needs time to himself, whether it's to pursue a hobby, spend time with friends, or just recharge. But every time he tries to take this time, she becomes upset, accuses him of not caring, or even starts to invade this personal space, showing up unannounced or interrupting his time. This isn't about love or concern. It's about control and a lack of respect for his individuality. Data insight. Studies in the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships show that couples who respect each other's boundaries have significantly higher levels of satisfaction and lower levels of stress in their relationship. Boundaries aren't just important. They're essential for maintaining a healthy balance. Rhetorical question. How can a relationship thrive if one person's needs and limits constantly being ignored? Comparison. Think of boundaries as the lines on a road. They're there to keep you safe, prevent collisions, and to ensure everyone gets to their destination smoothly. Ignoring boundaries in a relationship is like driving recklessly, dangerous, and unsustainable. Men often believe that compromising on their boundaries is a sign of love or commitment. But in reality, constantly giving up your personal space or preferences is not compromise. It's self-erasure. A woman who disregards a man's boundaries is not interested in a partnership. He's interested in control. Educational content. It's crucial to communicate your boundaries clearly and consistently in any relationship. This isn't just about stating them, but about enforcing them and being ready to walk away if they are repeatedly ignored. Respecting each other's boundaries is a mutual responsibility and a sign of a mature, healthy relationship. Transition. Respecting boundaries is about respect and mutual understanding. But what happens when there's a complete lack of empathy in a relationship? Let's explore that next. 5. Lack of empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. It's the glue that holds people together in tough times, bridge that connects hearts and minds. But what if empathy is missing? Storytelling. Imagine a man going through a tough time. Maybe he's lost a loved one, facing challenges at work, or just feeling overwhelmed by life. Instead of being there to support him, his partner dismisses his feelings, tells him to man up, or even uses his vulnerability against him later in arguments. This lack of empathy is more than just insensitivity. It's a lack of emotional connection. Data insight. Research from the University of Michigan suggests that empathy is a key predictor of relationship satisfaction. Partners who show empathy tend to communicate better, resolve conflicts more effectively, and feel more connected to each other. Rhetorical question. How can you feel loved in a relationship where your feelings are constantly invalidated? Comparison. Think of empathy as the fuel for a car. Without it, the car might look good on the outside, but it's not going anywhere. Similarly, a relationship without empathy might appear stable, but it lacks the depth and understanding needed to truly thrive. Men often feel pressured to hide their emotions, thinking it makes them stronger or more attractive. But in reality, vulnerability is a strength. A partner who lacks empathy isn't just failing to understand you, they're failing to connect with you on a fundamental human level. Educational content. Empathy is a skill that can be developed, but only if there's a willingness to understand and grow together. If a woman shows a consistent lack of empathy, it's a sign that she might not be emotionally mature enough for a deep, meaningful relationship. In these cases, it's important to assess whether this is a relationship where you feel truly seen and understood. Transition. Empathy is about connection, and without it, relationships become shallow and unsatisfying. But there's another behavior that can be just as destructive: public humiliation. Let's dive into that. 6. Public humiliation. Finally, let's address something that's absolutely unacceptable in any relationship: public humiliation. There's a big difference between playful teasing and outright humiliation, and crossing that line can cause deep, lasting harm. Storytelling. Imagine a couple at a dinner party. The woman constantly makes fun of her partner in front of others, pointing out his flaws, making jokes at his expense, or sharing private details meant to embarrass him. The room laughs, but he feels small, disrespected, and exposed. This is not just embarrassing, it's damaging to his self-esteem and dignity. Data insight. A study by the Gottman Institute found that contempt is the single greatest predictor of divorce. Public humiliation is a form of contempt, showing a lack of respect and care for the partner's feelings and reputation. Rhetorical question. If someone truly loves you, why would they want to see you embarrassed or hurt, especially in front of others? Comparison. Think of a relationship like a partnership in a dance. Each step should be taken in harmony, with care and attention. When one partner intentionally steps on the other's toes in front of an audience, it's not just painful. It's a clear signal that they don't value the dance. Men might brush off public humiliation as harmless fun, or think they should take it like a man. But repeated humiliation is not fun or harmless. It's a sign of deeper issues in the relationship. A woman who humiliates her partner in public shows a lack of respect for him and the relationship itself. Educational content. It's important to communicate clearly about how certain actions make you feel, especially if they cross the line into public humiliation. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, and it's crucial to establish boundaries about what is and isn't acceptable in public setting. No one should ever feel belittled by their partner, especially not in front of others. Conclusion. A man should never tolerate behaviors that diminish his self-worth or compromise his integrity. Relationships are meant to be nurturing, supportive, and respectful. When faced with any of these toxic behaviors, the best course of action is to address them directly, and if necessary, be prepared to walk away. Because in the end, self-respect and well-being are more important than any relationship. Choose to be with someone who lifts you up, not tears you down. If you've experienced any of these behaviors in your relationship, it's time to take a stand. Your well-being and happiness are worth fighting for. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Speak up, set your boundaries, and remember that walking away is sometimes the bravest and most empowering choice you can make. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. And remember, in relationships, respect is non-negotiable. Choose wisely, stay strong, and stay true to yourself.